Okay, welcome to what I think is day 4 of the fun and games. Now, yesterday was actually just a tidy up day in the garage because watching these videos back myself, my God, what a state it was. And I can only apologise for that becoming my normal. Just because I'm outside, I just assume that foliage and leaves live out here. But actually, we should be better than that. And I know my mummy would be disappointed if she saw the state of things. So I have cleaned it. Look! There you go. All the leaves are gone. Everything's good. All tidied and arranged. Tools are all in order. Everything's good. And it only took like 2 hours yesterday, so wicked. And today's job, ever evolving actually, I was going to remove the servo assist completely and just go back to the old ways of the brakes. But don't want to do that now because I've just followed all the lines under the car. Now it's jacked up to see where it's leaking if I could find out, and everything's looking a-okay from the master cylinder onwards to this T-junction, which is now away from the master cylinder, outside and under the car rather than just behind the cylinder. So things have moved and I'd need to readjust those brake lines and replace them for longer ones and whatever else just to get it back into its original state, which will not apply if I just buy a new master cylinder and drop it in. That'll be fine. But if I want to go back to how it was, things need changing and readjusting and anti-fitting. So hopefully I won't have to do that. And now I'm going down the lines of, is there something wrong with the servo itself? Has the diaphragm gone? Is there oil pooling in there? Because I know, is it called Fuji Films or something? He's been in the comments and hello, and I know I've got to reply to you about the negative earth thing. But yeah, I saw that his servo diaphragm bit got absolutely rammed full of oil, and that was swallowing it all, and obviously that's not what you want. So I think maybe that's happening with mine because all of the brake fluid is gone out of that reservoir that comes with the servo bit on the bulkhead. So I don't know where it goes. I don't know if that's what was leaking out yesterday when I jacked it up. I don't think so. I think that was water. I know we're losing coolant. I've just topped the radiator back up. It took a fair bit. There was some still in there, but I know we've got leaks there. So what I want to do now is top up all the reservoirs. I know it's not going to be ideal because I'm not going to bleed the brakes, but I'm going to send some fluid down there, start the car, get the servo all gassed up, and just see where leaks are coming from. Now I can actually see for once, and go from there. And hoping it'll just be a new servo kit and maybe a master cylinder, and then that'll be solved. Not sure, but we'll find out. But thanks for joining me at day 4 on with the MORRiS. Welcome back. Right, I didn't film anything yesterday. I did put brake fluid in. I did get the car started. I did make a mistake, which I'm going to make you privy to in a moment. And then I ran out of time. So actually, today's little plan, it's been a busy day, I tell you. But I'm going to jack up the back end again so everything's up off the ground so I can see properly, because I'm getting quite claustrophobic under there, if I'm honest. And from there, I plan on removing the master cylinder because I'm pretty sure it's either due a service because it looks like it's never been removed, and I'll show you why you can come to that conclusion in a second. And there's many videos on it, but it's all about this bloody torsion bar that's in the way of the 2 main bolts that hold that in place. If it had been replaced in the past, chances are those bolts would have been switched around so the nut end is behind the torsion bar, so you can get it out and in easier in the future. And that's not the case, so I think it's where it's always been. Hopefully it's not been there for the best part of 60 years, because that could be a nightmare to get rid of. But that's something that today's going to entail as well. I'm going to try and WD-40 everything, let it soak overnight whilst it's still kind of warm, and then tomorrow maybe remove those bolts if they don't come off today. I also have a plan for getting that torsion bar out of the way, which is an interesting little historical artifact that you might enjoy as well. And it should be strong enough, it should be bloody strong enough to do it. Yeah, so let's crack on. We're back again with the jacking game. Won't tell the missus how much I've been jacking it in the garage this week. She'll be concerned. Again, just jacking it up from the centre of the rear axle, that little differential bit. I'm hoping that's not a brake fluid leak on the inside of these tyres. There was plenty of that going on last year, but I've replaced those cylinders since. But I've also hit them with a hammer a lot and prized away the cap from the piston, so the chances are it's probably pissing, which is a shame, but I don't think so. It doesn't look fresh. Right, that's everything up. Let's lock that a bit tighter. Sweet. For extra security, even though if it falls we'll die, I'm going to slide these ramps underneath and try and catch it if it goes wrong. So that's all the wheels off now, so we've got maximum space to have a nosy around, and we can adjust all the brakes as things go on, because the cams will need doing on all these bloody brake drums, and yeah, there's lots of fettling and things to do and prepare as far as how tight the handbrake is before you center the brakes, because then you've got maximum potential to let the air out of the cylinders, blah blah blah. So all wheels off, fuck it, we're not going anywhere, and we can run it and test the brakes whilst we just run it in gear, to be fair, so that helps. A little bit of faith. So this angle is solely for my benefit, but you may as well keep an eye on it for me. I'm going to pump the brakes and see if any air comes up from this, you know, secondary filler for the servo system, which essentially fills up the whole system, so this will keep the original master cylinder topped up as well. And from where I left this last night, it hasn't moved as far as the level goes, so maybe the drippings that I did get, which I can show you, overnight, may well have just been from the residual what was caught in that metal bit where it's housed, which is what I'm hoping. So it would appear that the fluid does rise and fall with the brakes being applied, and now I've stepped out of the car and I'm no longer applying the brakes. It has returned to its original level. I'm not sure what that tells me, but at least we're not leaking anything. Nothing happening down here, I don't think. I don't believe there's any new leaks. We've got nothing leaking from the cylinders on the brakes, well, on the drums themselves, which is great news. So we haven't busted anything in the meantime, which is great to know. Let me just check the one that I think I nicked. No, all good. So we've got no problems with the cylinders. So what I'm going to try is film these wheels. I'm going to start the engine. Yep. And then I'm going to stick it in gear, let these turn, and see if the brakes apply at all. So clutch is all good. She's in gear now, as you can see. So I'm going to set up the camera now and see if the brakes do anything. So as it stands, absolutely nothing happening with those brakes, as you can see. No further leaks from the cylinder here. It's a weird bit, because I know if you've got spongy brakes and or you got to pump them to get them to work, you've either got too much air in the system or something's going wrong with the master cylinder. Now I want to get through all tests as far as bleeding it through properly without rushing it and getting it done to a good standard before I judge whether it is actually this master cylinder that's the problem, which is a long-winded way of figuring things out, and it's quite likely going to end in a massive waste of brake fluid, but needs must. I am very much open to help in the comments if anyone has any clues as far as how to make how to do this better, to be honest. But and I love to, if anyone lives close to Birmingham in the West Midlands and you want to come down and give me a hand, get in the comments and I'll be more than happy to oblige you, and I'll give you a coffee and maybe a can. That'll be all right. The good news, at least, is the shim is well and truly doing its job, because this time last year I couldn't get any bite on this at all, to a point where I was thinking maybe it's the wrong size shoes, it's the wrong size drums, everything's wrong, rah, rah, rah. Because I couldn't get a full extension on the cam snail. I could not get it to bite. Whereas now I'm one click and we have bite. So that's certainly a good thing. So without one click, a lot of resistance, 2 clicks, completely locked. So we'll stick with 1 click back. There's a little bit there, but obviously it's going to wear off because these are new shoes that haven't done, well, they've barely done any miles. So we'll stick with a slight bit of resistance, and I'm going to go and do the other side. So idiot boy had the handbrake applied whilst doing this, so start again. So I'm actually further ahead than I've ever been as far as the handbrake works, which is bloody awesome. So fully locked, fully locked, fully locked. Now they've both got 2 washer shims in those little cups on the pistons, just so you're aware. Now, and that's not tightly, like that's all it's taking. So yeah, off, disengaged, and we've got pretty free spin, which is lovely. So I'm chuffed with today, just based on that. Another quick check if we've had any leaks from the cylinder, and we haven't, from what I can tell. It's all still wet wipe, I think. If not, it'll just be a new washer bit that you saw I broke when I removed that the other day. So again, let's start her up. Sticker in the gear. 1 second. Oops. Handbrake. Wicked. So that's something. We have a handbrake. I don't think actual brakes are working at all. Okay, that's something. And once again, no new fluids coming from here, from what I can tell. I don't think so. So, that's good news. Brake fluid all still kosher here, so we've had no leaks today, which is bloody awesome. So, we can deduce from that that we aren't pulling any fluids in the servo diaphragm, which is good. We're not leaking from any cylinders or old, well, they're all new across the car. None of the brake lines are leaking underneath. So now I just literally have to bleed them properly. And then that'll be breaking the back of it on our mission to find out whether this cylinder is buggered or not. Now, an issue that has raised its ugly head is this near side rear hanger. Looks like the rust has really caused some issues here. Now, obviously, this is one of the main structural points for the leaf suspension. So if this goes, I imagine controlling the fucker is a nightmare and the whole thing will just crumble. So that needs seeing to. If there's anyone in the comments who can tell me, is this worth the time? This whole area would appear to be massively affected. Now, I'm not going to take a hammer to it. Here, not so bad, but here, not so good. And it looks like almost someone has jacked it up from this, not me, and has really tucked it inwards. But I think everything's true and straight for now, but that's going to go through, isn't it? So if anyone in the comments can tell me, is this worth the time and effort to do, or is this car about to become parts? Because that would be a shame. I got a small budget to throw at it. It's one of those things. It's the last chance saloon for a lot of these cars, and I'd hate to be the guy who gives up on it, considering the rest is generally okay. I don't want to be the guy who lets it go for something that's fixable. Now, price points, if you could let me know. If there's anyone who wants to have a crack at it, let me know. We'll get it down to you. I'm willing to risk driving it to wherever it needs to go anyway. So just let me know. Hopefully as local as you can be in the West Midlands, and we'll get it down. But I know much, much worse things have happened in the land of cars. So my hopes are up. Right. So I think that's it for today. That's handbrakes. That's everything adjusted and happy and shimmed. It's running great. The clutch seems to be fine. There's no additional leaks. Even the coolant has stayed in, which I'll have a little actual check. It's still there. So maybe it's when it's driving, the forces take their toll on the, I mean, we've got some here actually, so we've got a leak. We have got a leak. And that's fine because the new radiator doesn't cost too much. And that's a spend I'm willing to go through as well. Yeah, so this was happening when I was using it, to be honest. You're getting a lot of leakage down here. So new radiator, welding, hopefully not the master cylinder. And yeah, we'll go from there. But we haven't really put the brakes under any real duress, have we? So to be confirmed on that side of things. I'm going to quickly adjust these and get, I mean, they sound all right. Yeah, it's probably fine. And the other one? Yeah, we'll give all these a little tighten up, see what's happening there. But for now, zang. So I'm going to say that was a fairly productive little afternoon. It wasn't here long. What was that? Best part? Probably hour and a half-ish. But I'm actually quite happy that maybe the master cylinder is okay. For now, I'm going to do a proper job of bleeding this system out properly from in the proper order, for the shortest throw to the longest throw on the brake lines, all that stuff. I've always had my reservations about how the servo gets in the way of doing your brakes, basically, when you're trying to do your fluid. Surely the servo kicking in and assisting almost doesn't help, or does it? I don't know. I think it's the servo just there to push. I think so. I don't know. People in the comments, if you want to help. I've been in and out of forums all the time, and obviously different strokes for different folks as far as what works for some people, the issues they're coming across, and whether they're having the same issues as you. But there are people out there who just consistently have brakes that need pumping. One guy figured it out because he found out that the flexi lines that were installed by a previous user were twisted, so it was having issues getting the fluid through at a proper pressure, and he swapped them out and that was job done. And all that time he thought maybe his master cylinder was dead, but I don't think he had a servo. Anyway, I'm happy with where I'm at. Brake fluid isn't going anywhere, it's not leaking, handbrake's working, everything's shimmed up and actually grips the drums. She's running great. So literally I just want to get her running. If I have to pump the brakes to drive around for a bit, then fine, that's how it was before. But then yeah, I guess getting that bloody welding done is the next major job. So if anyone knows anyone local to the Midlands who is willing to tackle that, if anyone could give me a vague price idea just so I can start putting money to the side for that, because honestly I've got a lot to be spending on cars at the moment. The insurance is coming up for the KA, which is only going up. You think getting older and having so many years of no claims would help, but every year I'm chasing my tail because I guess there's no one that has insurance out here anymore, and it's just forcing everyone else's up. So we can thank all the idiots for that, the terrible drivers, the EVs, the fires, all the things. It's just not making life easier for anyone. Tax, that's going to be due on the bloody KA as well, and then it'll be MOT time. Well, it's MOT time now, I need to do that. And then it'll be the MOT for the van, and we'll be back to work, and everything's just going to be haywire. So lots of spending to do. So if anyone could give me a vague idea on what this might cost and whether it's even viable, please get in the comments and let me know. But thank you very much for joining me. I think Faith got us through today, wouldn't you? Have a good one. See you in the next one. Brummy Wonders. There's Joan. Thanks for joining. Ta-ta. Oh, and that big mistake I made yesterday, starting the car whilst you're jacking it up from the engine block. Don't do it.